All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another week of Bible study in our How to Pray Effectively. And we are on chapter 3, which is the prayer of petition, right? So during this Bible study, we are going to go over the book, but we are also going to watch a short film. It's about 40 minutes, I believe, but it really touches on the prayer of petition. And you'll see in the film how one of the characters is literally petitioning God over a situation that she is experiencing. So, but before we get started, of course, I'm going to open us up in prayer. So, dear Heavenly Father, God, I thank you right now for this moment to just come together as a body to just, honor you, worship you through your word, God, to discuss this important topic of how to pray effectively. And, I ask that everything that is said, that is spoken, that we hear from each other, that we read from the book, that it is penetrated in our heart and mind, and we take it and you show us how to apply it to our life. And bless those that are coming, that is going to be signing in soon. In your son Jesus' name, amen. All right. All right. So, what is prayer of petition? It is an earnest request accompanied with a great deal of intensity. It does not have to be long and drawn out, and you can make an impact in your world and turn circumstances around in just a few minutes through the prayer of petition. And supplications mean petition. And we're going to take a look into the book for a little bit. Can everybody hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, of course, in literal sense, when you think about petition, it's a formal written plea with legal demands, and a petitioner writes according to legal guidelines and makes his request in such a way to convince the one he is presenting his petition to. And it is also defined as a solemn entry, a supplication or request appealing to an authority, or an earnest or humble appeal for something or to someone. And that's simply saying that that's what that is in literal sense, but you can think of it as the same thing when it comes to our relationship with God. So a prayer petition, like it says here, it's much more serious, and it's a request that is accompanied with a great deal of intensity, right? And however, the effectiveness or the efficiency doesn't necessarily have to do with lengthiness. So, like I said, like your prayer petition can be rather short, but that petition can be something so impactful, right? So in First Timothy 2 and 1, the verse says, I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, and intercessions and giving of thanks be made for all men, right? And the word supplications mean petitions. So with this, Paul was basically instructing Timothy to make petitions as a priority in his prayers. So that's just a little background of what the prayer of petition is. So now we are going to begin watching this film. Like I said, it's about 40 minutes, but it kind of ties in into what prayer of petition is. And just watch it. Think about, how this relates to you and your life and your situation. And then we'll discuss it at the end of the film. And if you know anybody who may need this, go ahead and send them the Zoom information and have them sign on. Hey, everybody hear it?
Yeah.
Grandma, why do we only plant on this small patch when we own all that land up to the big mango tree and even down the hill?
Because, Richard, I can only plant as far as my strength will take me. Your grandpa, God rest his soul, used to farm the whole land, every last inch. But even he had his limits.
Limits?
Mhm. After planting from dawn to dusk, he'd be too exhausted to haul anything to the market. We had no truck, no bike, just his old wheelbarrow. And you know how far the city is? 21 kilometers? Sometimes he'd sleep on the produce sacks at the roadside, too tired to push another step.
I wish I met him.
You would have loved him. He talked like you. Big dreams. He believed this land could feed more than just our family.
Well, when I grow up, I'm going to be a farmer, but not just a hoe and cutlass farmer. I'll use tractors, real ones, and drones for spraying and watching over the crops from above.
Drones, look at you. Where'd you learn all that?
School. Mr. Bako showed us a video during agriculture class. There was this man who used machines to plant and harvest, and even had a warehouse. I'll do more than that. Just watch.
God is my witness. I had a dream last year, in July. You were standing where we are now, but a lot older, and this place was transformed. There were machines, silos, workers. On the east wing, the stretch leading to Abatunu, you had a livestock section. Cows, chickens, goats, all in proper enclosures.
Really?
Very real. And now that I hear your dreams echo mine, it tells me the dream came from God. That's why no matter how tough life gets, I've never thought of selling this land. Never. Your grandfather left it to me, and I will leave it to you. It will be here, waiting for you to turn it into the miracle we both saw.
Then I won't let you down.
I know you won't. Now let's pack up. The sun is already halfway gone.
Wait, Grandma, can we take the Abatuna path home, please?
You want to pass by Joseph's house, right? You know that route is double the distance. It's almost 6 o'clock.
Please, Grandma, please. I'll fetch water, wash your wrappers, and even sweep the compound without being reminded. Just let me see Joseph. He just got back from boarding school last week. I promised him I'd stop by.
All right, but if I see one chore left undone tomorrow morning, I'll tie your ear to the mango tree. Deal?
Deal!
Okay, pack up. Let's take the long way home.
So, Mr. Collins, how's it coming along?
Very smooth, sir. The eastern wall is up to the 7th column. At this rate, we should have the full perimeter fenced by next Friday, weather permitting.
Perfect. I want all this cleared and compacted by month end. This land is going to be the base of the Shepherd legacy. I'm talking 5-bedroom smart mansion, private pool, guest quarters, and a proper helipad. Not just some show-off slab. You hear me?
Understood, sir. We're working with the architectural firm you approved. Site plan is already with the surveyor for demarcation confirmation.
Good. No mistakes, Collins. This isn't some downtown real estate flip. This is my country estate. Got it?
Wait, Richard. Do you see what I'm seeing?
That's our east border, Grandma. That's our land.
Someone is building on my land. Unbelievable.
Wow. If we hadn't taken this route, Grandma, we wouldn't have known someone is... What are you going to do?
I'm going to find whoever is responsible right now. Excuse me, which one of you is in charge here? Who's building on this land?
That would be me, Mario Shepherd. Why?
Mr. Shepherd, you're building on my land. This entire portion belongs to me and my family.
I purchased this land from the Community Trustee Board last December. I have full documentation, certificate of occupancy, survey plans, the works. I even have a gazette number. This land is mine.
I don't care what paper someone handed to you in an office. What I care about is that this land has been in my family for almost a century. My husband inherited it from his father. I've walked every boundary, planted every tree. There is no fence, not even a wire, that was placed here without my say.
Then take it up with your ancestors. The land you think is yours was declared Community Unoccupied Buffer Zone in the 2019 revalidation. I bought it legally. I didn't hop a fence in the dead of night, Mrs.
That buffer zone, as you call it, has 3 buried generations. I have no intention of letting you bury it under concrete.
Look, I don't know what kind of oral tradition you're relying on, but I have deeds, coordinates, and official seals. What do you have? Hand-me-down stories.
I have proof of continuous possession. This land has been actively cultivated. My crops stretch past your so-called markers. I have community witnesses, boundary trees, and dated receipts from the land use charge office addressed to me. So don't think I'll back down because you show me some printed PDF.
Ma'am, fight me if you want, but this land is mine. The ink is dry, the approvals are stamped, and your goats and cassava don't carry legal weight in court. So, do your worst.
I will. Believe me, Mr. Shepherd. I will not sleep until this building comes down. This house is being built on a stolen property, and I promise you, it will not stand.
You have spirit. I'll give you that. But spirit won't win you a land dispute, not in this country.
You'll see, this is not over. God of Abraham, Judge of the earth, you who stretched out the heavens and laid the earth's foundation, this land you gave my husband, the same soil where he bled into cassava roots and soaked yam tubers with sweat. Now strangers build over it with documents and deceit. Lord, I don't have lawyers. I don't have connections. I don't even have transport money to visit government offices. But you sit on a throne above all thrones. You weigh men's hearts. You judge without bias. You do not take bribes. So I come to you. I hand you this battle. Fight for us, Jehovah. Let truth speak louder than signatures. Let justice rise from the dust like harvest rain. Do not let the wicked prosper.
Good evening, Mr. Shepherd. I heard you sent for me, so I came. How's the project going? I drove past earlier. Nice progress.
Since you asked, the land you sold to me is causing drama.
Drama?
There's this old lady, says the land belongs to her late husband. Claimed she's been farming it for decades. Said something about ancestral rights. She even confronted me in front of my site engineer.
Ah, the classic "my grandfather stepped here in 1925, so it's mine" story. Look, Mario, people confuse occupancy with ownership all the time. Yes, maybe her people walked the land, maybe they planted cocoa yam or buried a dog there. Doesn't make it hers. The land was unregistered and fell into the community land pool during the 2019 restructuring. You bought it clean.
Then why is she laying claim? She's saying the land was passed down to her. You're saying something else. I don't want this mess. I didn't buy conflict.
Mario, listen. Land disputes like this? Common. If you want peace, hand it over. But if you want what you paid for, then fight. You've already started foundation work. You're past the adverse possession threshold. That's power. All you need to do is throw some money around.
Still, why should I pay to protect a land that legally belongs to me? If I'm right, why do I have to throw money around just to get people to agree with the truth?
Because, Mario, truth doesn't win in silence anymore. These days, it's not the law, it's the narrative. And between you and a poor, widowed farmer in wrappers, public sympathy will always lean to the woman kneeling under a tree with a Bible, even if she's dead wrong. People don't hate wealth, Mario. They hate the wealthy. Quietly, silently. The moment her story spreads, your name will become the villain in every mouth.
So what? You want me to start buying off community heads?
You're not buying anything. You're just influencing. Grease a few palms. Meet the local zonal officer. Visit the land commissioner's niece. Let the village secretary discover that the woman never had legal right to begin with. You're not stealing land, Mario. You're protecting an investment, a dream. And we both know who's stronger here.
Excuse me, madam, I'm sorry for the interruption, but may I have a word with you?
Richard, keep working. I'll be back.
So, yesterday didn't go well. We clearly started off on the wrong foot. I don't want any bad blood between us. I came here to make peace.
Peace begins with respect, Mr. Shepherd.
Exactly. That's why I'm here. Look, I've already started a project on that land. Foundation laid, materials bought. I can't just pack up and walk away. So I'm offering to pay you, handsomely, far more than that land is worth.
I'm not selling that land.
Why? What do you want me to do? Uproot my building and disappear? You know that's not possible.
That land is not for sale. Not today, not ever. It belongs to my grandson, Richard. God has plans for that boy, plans that will modernize this whole village. That soil will produce more than food. It will birth purpose.
But you still have land. Why cling to that piece? Why can't you let me carry on my project? I'm offering you money, real money. Do something else with the rest.
It's not about money, it's about destiny. That stretch you're building on, it's part of the vision I've carried in my spirit for years. I'm not giving it to you, not for your mansion, not for a blank check.
This is insane. I came to you with humility, offering to make peace, and you keep talking about visions and destinies. What do you want me to do? Demolish everything? Lose millions because of your stubbornness?
What I want you to do is accept responsibility. You should have done your due diligence. You should have verified that the land you were about to buy was genuinely available. That's on you, not me.
You're being selfish, madam, insensitive. You want to sabotage a project that will bring jobs to this community. You're holding everything back because of some sentimental claim.
No, I'm protecting a promise. You say I'm sabotaging progress, but what you call progress is an invasion. And if one person must lose everything for another to gain convenience, then that's not progress. That's robbery in disguise.
You know what? Do your worst. Take the matter to the chief, the courts, to God himself. Wherever you take it, I'll still win, because money rules the world.
Money may rule men, but it does not rule God. And it's God who will fight for me. That land will be returned to us.
You really think prayer will stop cement blocks and steel beams?
I don't think. I know. And just so you know, we've already started praying.
Then pray harder, because I will do everything possible to keep that land. Everything.
And God will do more.
So, let me understand. You're saying someone has begun construction on land that you claim belongs to you?
Yes, a man named Mario Shepherd. He claims he bought the land through the community trustees, but that portion of land has belonged to my late husband's family for over 90 years. I farmed it all my life. Now they're building concrete walls over my cassava.
Madam S.E., these kinds of cases are complicated.
But that's why I'm here. I was told your office handles land disputes within the district. You have the power to investigate titles, check encroachments, verify surveys. You must have records.
We do have records, but I'm not a judge. I can't determine who owns what based on emotional testimony. If the man has documentation...
And I have receipts. Land charge payments from as far back as 1950. I have maps, sworn witnesses, boundary trees.
Still, if the land was officially reclassified during the 2019 restructuring and sold by the trustee board, then it may have been considered unclaimed. It's not up to me to reverse that.
So what am I to do now? Where do I go when the people in charge won't lift a finger?
Madam, please. My hands are tied. You can file a complaint in court, but as far as this office is concerned, I don't have the authority to get involved.
You listened to my story, then gave me nothing but silence. Shame on you.
I'm sorry, but I have another appointment. Please speak with my assistant on your way out.
As agreed, the second half.
Ah, Mr. Shepherd, you're a man of your word. I've dealt with people who promised the world and vanished the next day. But you understand how things work in this country.
I don't believe in half jobs. I pay for results.
And you got them. That woman left here with nothing but frustration. I gave her the no authority speech. It always works. You keep building, sir. That land is yours now. No woman with a wrapper and a Bible is going to stop that.
Grandma, you're back. How did it go at the office?
It didn't go well, Richard. That man, that official, He didn't even want to get involved. He listened, asked questions, and in the end said it's not his place to interfere. I don't know what changed, but he just wanted me out of his office.
So what now? Are we just going to fold our arms and watch Mario take Grandpa's land?
No, we're taking this to court. That's all that's left.
But, Grandma, do we even have money for court? For lawyers?
No, not really. But I'll use everything I have left, all of it. If it means I fight with empty pockets, I'll still fight. That land is not going to disappear into someone else's name while I'm still breathing.
I've been praying for you, Grandma. I haven't stopped praying since the day we saw that building.
And I'm believing with you, son. God sees. He hears. This land, it will speak one day, and not with bricks or court papers, but with justice. He will fight for us, Richard. He will. Father, I don't even know how to start. I've cried so many times, I don't even have tears left. I'm going up against one of the richest men in this village, Mario Shepherd. Everybody knows his name. He has money, lawyers, people in his pocket. And me, I'm just a poor widow, a woman who still walks barefoot across her own farm. I'm using the last money I have to file this lawsuit. I don't even know if it will be enough, but I'm doing it because I believe. I believe you gave me that dream where Richard stood on that same land, running a business, helping the whole community, raising his own family there. It felt so real, Lord. It burned in my chest like fire. So if that dream really came from you, if it was not just a trick of my mind, then please fight for me. Let my weakness become your strength. Let my small voice echo in places my feet can't even reach. You said you defend the widow. You said you raise the humble. Then rise for me, God. Please rise for me. Don't let Mario win because he has money. Don't let lies cover truth just because they are louder. This land belongs to Richard. And if you have truly chosen him for something greater, then show Mario, show the courts, show this whole village that, you are still the judge of all flesh. I don't need to win for my pride. I need to win because of the promise, because of what you showed me. Help me, Lord. Help me. Sir, please, I need help. A man is building on land that has belonged to my husband's family for more than 90 years. I've been farming it my whole life. I brought the receipts, maps, everything I have.
All right. You're dealing with a land possession dispute. You'll need an injunction first to stop further development, then a declaratory suit to assert ownership. This is going to court, not just letters and talk.
I'm ready, whatever it takes. I just want my land back.
Legal fee, $500. Filing and court charges, $150. Optional land survey verification, another $200 if we need it. All in all, let's just say $850 to begin.
$250, all I could gather, everything I have left is $270.
$270 isn't even enough to cover the filing fees properly.
I know, but please, in the name of God, I'm a widow. That land is my grandson's future. Even if I have to clean your office every morning, I will find a way. Please, help me.
All right, $270 it is, but I'll keep it simple. Don't expect courtroom drama and legal theatrics. I'll file your claim, request an injunction, and we'll see how the judge responds.
God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Your documents are valid. The tax receipts are in your name. Boundary lines are clear. But the man you're up against, Mario Shepherd, he's powerful. He knows people in high places. I'll do what I can. But don't get your hopes up. Yeah, Kojo, file it under District South. If they give you excuses again, escalate to the municipal court.
Case number 22723, Agimman versus Shepherd.
Make it quick, ma'am. The court is busy today.
My lord, this land in question has been in my family for...
Facts only, not history. Proceed.
Yes, sir. The land in dispute was passed down to my husband, Kwame Agimman, in 1989 by his late father. I have been farming on it for over 30 years. I've brought land charge receipts from 2007, a 2004 site plan, and I have community witnesses ready to testify that I've never left that land.
If that's all, step aside.
Your Honor, the defense is ready. This woman's claim rests entirely on tradition and sentiment. My client, Mr. Mario Shepard, lawfully purchased this land through the Community Trustee Board. We have a gazetted certificate of occupancy, GPS-based survey documents dated March 3, 2023, and an official transfer signed by the district's land registrar. She has no title deed, no official registration, just faded receipts and oral inheritance. Her claim doesn't hold legal weight in this courtroom, and certainly not against a certified land title.
Yes, Your Honor, if I may. While my client may not have the latest digital survey files, she has lived and worked on this land continuously. That qualifies as, continuous possession under customary land use doctrine.
Counsel, are you prepared or not?
Yes, sir. Yes, I will cross-examine the defendant now. Mr. Shepard, when did you claim to have purchased the land?
March 1st, 2023.
And you paid whom exactly?
The community trustee chairman signed off with the district registrar. All documented.
But, were you aware that someone else had been cultivating the land?
I bought what the system said was available. What people do informally isn't my concern. I followed the law.
If there's nothing more, we'll adjourn for now. Both parties will return next month for closing arguments.
Essie Agimman. Essie, what are you doing walking under this sun like this?
Ah, Mama Serwa. I didn't even see you there. Good afternoon.
Afternoon? Essie, why are you under this hot sun? Do you want to collapse? What happened? Where are you coming from?
I'm just coming from the municipal court in Tema. There was a hearing today for the land case.
From Tema? Essie, that's over an hour on foot from here. Why didn't you take a Trotsky?
I don't have any change left, my sister. I used my last money on filing the case. Transport wasn't part of the budget. So I said I'd walk home. I've walked worse.
And you couldn't even carry an umbrella to protect yourself from this burning sun?
My umbrella is broken. The last thunderstorm took it.
But Izzy, I don't want to poke my nose into things, but I heard this whole case is about land that Mr. Mario offered to pay you for. Why are you going through all this stress when you could have just collected the money and ended it?
You won't understand, Mama Sawa.
Try me. Look, you could have taken the money and used it to send Richard to school. That boy is still young. By the time he grows up, he might not even care about the land. What if he decides to move abroad? What if the land lies empty?
I said, you won't understand. That land means more than money. I can't sell my child's future to solve today's hunger. Even if I have to suffer now, it's better than trading destiny for comfort. Some things you hold on to, even when everyone else calls you foolish.
Well, I wish you all the best. I would have given you a ride, but I'm not going in your direction. Please, take care of yourself, okay?
Thank you. Safe journey.
Grandma, are you okay?
Yes, my son, I'm fine. Just tired. I had to walk all the way back from court today. I didn't even have money left for a bus. The sun was no joke. But I'm okay. Just tired.
Your phone was ringing. I came to give it to you. But Grandma, I just want you to know, I know we're going to win this case. I believe it.
I believe in God too, Richard. I do.
Hello?
Mrs. Agimman, it's me, Barrister Nuno.
Barrister Nuno, good evening.
Madam, you and I both saw how things went down in court. I'll be honest, it's not looking good.
I know.
But...
Let me finish. I just heard from a colleague that Mario's legal team is inviting 2 government officials to testify. Their angle is to challenge the entire ownership structure, not just that corner Mario is building on. They're going after the entire land. All of it. If they succeed, they'll declare your whole property illegitimately occupied. Meaning you won't just lose one section. You'll lose everything.
But I can't. I can't sell that land, barrister. That land is Richard's future. God gave me a dream. He showed me what that land will become.
Mrs. Agimman, please stop fooling yourself. This is the real world. I don't know what dream you had, but this is court, not church. And I'm sorry, but I don't think I can continue representing you.
Please don't do this. What lawyer will take me now? I have no money. You're the only one who even gave me a chance.
I'm a struggling lawyer too, madam. Every case I take matters. Losing hurts my reputation. People think lawyers are heartless. But when we lose, we bleed clients. Right now, your case is a sinking boat, and I don't want to go down with it.
But what if you win? What if you're the one lawyer who stood against Mario Shepherd and won? Don't you want to be that man?
Look, I'll think about it, but no promises.
God, was that dream really from you? Was I just making it all up in my head? They're not trying to take a corner anymore. They want everything. I've risked it all. I've spent everything. All because I believed. Because I thought you said this land belonged to Richard. That you had plans. Lord, if this faith is a mistake, if I misheard you, please say something. Do something. I've got nothing left to stand on except you. Please, don't let me be ashamed.
All rise for the Honourable Justice Mensah.
Before we proceed, will both legal teams approach the bench? Plaintiff's counsel?
My lord, my lawyer didn't show up.
Excuse me?
He was hesitant the last time we spoke. He didn't confirm whether or not he'd continue, but I thought maybe he'd still come.
So let me get this straight. You came to court without a lawyer, knowing your legal counsel might not represent you, and said nothing about it beforehand?
I didn't know for sure, sir. We didn't reach a definite agreement. I held on to hope.
Hope doesn't argue in court, madam. This is a courtroom, not a prayer meeting. You cannot appear in a high-profile civil suit unrepresented and waste the court's time on indecision. This level of unpreparedness is unacceptable. Do you understand how many cases are pending in this court? You've now forced an unnecessary delay, inconvenienced everyone because of your own carelessness. This court will appoint you a public defender. But let it be known, one more incident like this, and your petition will be struck out entirely. Court adjourned until Monday, the 24th of June.
This woman just wants attention. Poor widow my foot.
She wants to be a hero. Going up against Mario like this? With no lawyer? She's embarrassing herself.
I just hope she loses that land so she can stop all this drama.
This is what happens when people mistake stubbornness for faith.
Grandma? Grandma, are you okay?
I'm fine, my son. Just a little cold. It's nothing serious. Don't worry yourself.
No, Grandma, you're not fine. You're sweating but shivering. Your eyes look tired. We have to go to the hospital.
No, please, don't stress yourself. I just need rest. It's the court stress. I'll be all right. Go and eat your food.
No, Grandma, I mean it. If you don't go to the hospital, I won't eat anything again. Not one bite. I'll only eat after you see a doctor.
Richard, I don't have money. Not even coins for paracetamol. All the money I had, I used it for the court case. There's nothing left. Not even for a taxi fare.
But there's a new hospital in town. It's far, yes, near the next junction after Mampong Road. But I heard from the boys in school, they treat people for free.
Free? How? Since when do hospitals work for free?
It's a missionary hospital. They don't ask for money first. They're run by church people. They just help people because that's what they believe in.
Missionary hospital?
Yes, and even if we have to walk half the way, I'll help you, please. Let's go, Grandma. Let's go before it gets worse.
All right, I'll go with you.
Thank you, Grandma. You'll see. Everything will be okay.
Let's start with your full name and age, please.
AC Agimman, 69 years old.
All right. What symptoms have you been experiencing?
Fever, weakness, dizziness. I feel cold, but I'm sweating. I've been walking around with heavy legs for days.
Any previous history of high blood pressure? Diabetes?
No diabetes, but my husband had high blood pressure. I've never checked mine seriously.
Your blood pressure is quite elevated, ma'am. 168/102. That's high. I'll need to run some tests to confirm what's going on, but based on your vitals and symptoms, it looks like stress-induced hypertension, possibly early-stage cardiovascular strain. I'll prescribe antihypertensives to bring the pressure down and painkillers to ease the body aches. But we'll also need blood work and urine tests to rule out infection or kidney involvement.
Thank you, my child. I didn't even know treatment could be free in this life.
It's all part of the missionary outreach. We're sponsored by a church network that serves rural communities. No payment is required.
Are you part of the church?
Yes, I am. It doesn't pay much, but I knew long ago that I was called to be a missionary doctor.
How did you know?
Funny story. Years before I took my first entrance exam into medical school, I had a dream. I was wearing a lab coat and treating people, but they had no money. I knew when I woke up. That was God speaking. I told everyone that I would be a missionary doctor one day.
And so you got in?
No, I failed. Everyone told me to move on, study something else. You're not cut out for medicine, they said. But I couldn't shake the dream. So I tried again, but failed again.
What, twice?
Yes. I passed on the third try. It took years, but I made it, because I knew God was calling me to this.
That's inspiring. I had a dream too, that my grandson, Richard, would turn our land into a farming company. He'd employ people, build processing plants. The land would bless the whole village. But now, I'm scared the dream might die with me.
Why would you say that?
I'm in court, fighting to keep the land. I'm up against the richest man in our village. My lawyer dropped me. He didn't show up in court. They gave me a public defender. And everyone knows public defenders. They don't care if you win or lose. They're just there.
So what are you going to do now?
The rich man did offer to buy the land from me some time ago. I'm seriously thinking of doing just that, so I don't lose everything.
Mrs. Agimman, don't give up yet. Maybe God brought us together today for a reason. If I had quit after failing twice, I wouldn't be sitting here helping you.
But why did God give the dream only to allow one to go through suffering and disappointment? Why not just wait until the blessing is ready?
I think sometimes the dream is the only thing that keeps us going in the dark. Think about Joseph. God showed him his brothers bowing down to him, but what followed was a pit, slavery, prison. Yet it was that dream that helped him endure the wilderness. Some dreams happen right away. Others are for an appointed time, but they're always worth holding on to.
I won't give up. Not yet. Not while I still have breath. I'll stay strong. For Richard.
Good. Just don't take your medicine on an empty stomach. You can pray, but no fasting, okay?
Lion of the tribe of Judah, El Shaddai, Elohim, Adonai, you who ride on the wings of the wind, who thunder from the heavens and shake the earth with your whisper. I lift up my voice to the one who sits enthroned above the circle of the earth. You stretch out the heavens like a curtain. You breathe and mountains melt like wax.
You are the Ancient of Days, the one whose robe fills the temple, whose eyes are flames of fire. You are the righteous judge, and today I summon you into this courtroom of injustice. You see me, Lord. You see how the wicked prosper, how Mario, with all his influence, silences voices with money, but he does not know you. You are the judge of judges. You cannot be bribed. You cannot be silenced. You cannot be outvoted. Let your gavel strike from heaven, O God. Let your justice speak louder than their lawyers. Let truth rise from the ground and shame the proud. Mario may have power on earth, but who can stand when the Lord of hosts rises from his throne? The earth is your footstool. Every ruler is dust beneath your feet. So rise, O King of glory. Show them who rules in the affairs of men. I am a widow, yes, but I am not alone. I stand with the Lord of heaven's armies. I trust in you. You gave me a dream. You spoke it first. Defend it, Lord.
Your Honor, the defense would like to call a government official to the stand. Mr. Kwabena Narte, head of land records and allocation.
Thank you, my lord. Now, it's a known fact in this region that many lands people claim were passed down by ancestors were never legally allocated. What happened back then was, a family starts farming a land, builds a hut or two, and because there was no organised authority at the time, they simply claimed it. There was no gazette, no survey plan, no recorded deed, just word of mouth. I believe Mrs. Agimman's land falls into that category.
So are you saying her land claim is based purely on tradition?
Exactly, tradition, not legal ownership.
Counsel for the plaintiff, your response?
Your Honor, my client has presented over 30 years of continuous land charge receipts, all addressed to her name. She has mapped boundaries, witness testimony from neighbors, and documentation of active use. Under the land use and possession doctrine, especially in rural territories like this one, long-term continuous possession with documented tax compliance is recognized and, in many cases, upheld as valid ownership. Furthermore, Mr. Nardi conveniently failed to mention that this unofficial land had been previously approved for taxation under his office, meaning the government acknowledged its use and occupant. Now, regarding damages, should this court rule in favor of Mrs. Agimman, I will be filing for financial compensation. We'll be requesting coverage for legal costs, transportation, and emotional hardship, totaling $150,000, which we believe to be fair given the harassment, defamation, and displacement attempted by the defendant. It's time the court sends a clear message. That silence can't be bought, and justice is not reserved for the wealthy.
Can he do that?
Yes, he can. He's her lawyer. But don't worry, they'll lose anyway.
Court is adjourned until July the 1st. A final ruling will be made on that day.
Excuse me, Barrister Dadibo. That thing you said in court about the compensation, we never discussed that at all.
Wouldn't it help if you were compensated for all this?
I mean, yes, I just never thought about it. It sounded good. It surprised me.
Good. Then that's the plan. You've been through hell. If they're kicked off your land, they'll pay for the damage too. I've got another case in 30 minutes. I'll see you in court on the 1st.
Do justice. Stop delaying.
Quasi, are you okay?
No, I'm not.
Was it a nightmare?
There's something I need to take care of.
Now? At this hour?
The voice said not to delay.
Well, whatever it is, good night. I hope you find peace.
Mr. Shepard, what brings you here?
Just thought I'd drop by. Talk. Man to man. Nothing formal.
Is this about the Agimman case?
Let's not call it that. Let's just say about land, stress, waste of the court's time, and yours. You strike me as a man who appreciates discretion. There's a 2023 Range Rover autobiography, parked just outside, full tank, all papers clean. And that's just a token of appreciation. for keeping things smooth. If you need more, we can talk.
Why that land, Mr. Shepard?
Excuse me?
Why that land? You're wealthy. You could buy half the district and not feel it. This isn't about that building you started. You know it. So why?
Honestly, maybe it's about authority or power. The woman challenged me publicly. Now I just want to show her and everyone else that nobody stands against me and wins. That's it. Power, pride, intoxication, whatever they call it.
Do you know why I decided to become a lawyer?
To make money? Same reason anyone chooses law.
I didn't even know what wealth looked like. I was 13 when I decided. My mother and I were evicted in the middle of the night from a one-room apartment we could barely afford. The landlord didn't wait for court, didn't wait for month end. He just came with thugs. I remember my mother holding our cooking pot like it was gold. It was all we had. She told me, "We can't fight this, Quasi. We don't have a lawyer." And in that moment, I knew. I wasn't going to be helpless again. And I wasn't going to watch others suffer that helplessness either.
Well, congratulations. You made it. And now you can reward that 13-year-old boy by giving him a Range Rover. Come on, let's get back to business. I'll top it off if you want. I know how these things go.
Use the door, Mr. Shepard.
Judge.
If you say another word, I'll hold you in contempt of court. And I'll have no problem testifying myself about this bribe. This court has heard the arguments presented over the past several weeks. The plaintiff, Mrs. E.C. Agimman, claims ancestral ownership of a parcel of land that she and her family have farmed for decades. The defendant, Mr. Mario Shepard, contends he legally purchased the land from the community trustees based on records that categorize the land as available due to lack of legal title. During my own independent review of the case file and supporting documents, I found something that both sides overlooked, or perhaps underestimated. There was a policy passed in 1992 by the local government council, known then as the Land Regularization Initiative. Under that policy, any person who had occupied and developed a piece of land continuously before January 1st, 1990, and could provide evidence of tax payment or development activity, was allowed to claim lawful right of possession, even without a purchase deed. Mrs. Agimman provided land use charge receipts and a community tax notice in her husband's name dated 1989. She presented boundary sketches, photos, and witness statements that corroborate her presence on the land well before that cutoff year. In contrast, Mr. Shepard's ownership stems from a sale conducted in 2023, built on an assumption of vacancy, not an investigation of rightful occupancy. Justice is not the property of the powerful. It is not a weapon for the wealthy. It is a scale, and today, that scale leans heavily in favor of the truth. Mr. Shepard, this land was never yours. The law and my conscience stand with this woman. This court rules in favor of Mrs. Essie Agimman. The defendant is hereby ordered to vacate the property within 21 days and pay the full damages requested by the plaintiff's counsel in the amount of $150,000, no less, no delay. This matter is hereby resolved. Court adjourned.
Mama Essie, you've shown us that God still answers prayers.
Yes. Today is for the people, not the politicians, not the rich, but the people.
You did it, Lord. You did not let me be ashamed.
Well, Mrs. Agimman, I must say, these test results look fantastic. Your blood pressure is stabilizing. Your hemoglobin levels are back up. You've made remarkable progress.
As it should. Peace of mind is medicine too, Doctor. After the judge's ruling, I've been sleeping like a baby. No more court papers. No more long walks in the sun. Just peace.
I heard the news. I was just waiting to finish the doctor talk before bringing it up. The story has been all over town. The nurses here have been buzzing for days after the trial, and every time I hear it being discussed, my heart leaps. To think that I got to play a small role in all this.
You played a big role, my dear. God used you to restore more than my health. You reminded me not to give up.
With all due respect, Doctor, sometimes I worry that conversations like this make Christianity sound like a guarantee. As if following Jesus means you'll always get what you ask for. Even Christ, in the Garden of Gethsemane. He asked for the cup to pass. It didn't. So why should we expect every mountain to move? Sometimes I think what we call faith is really just spiritual entitlement.
You're right to bring that up. But here's the key, Abina. Wisdom. Faith doesn't mean we always get what we want. It means we pursue what God wants us to have, with conviction. And when that conviction is real, we don't back down after one no.
So, how do we know when to persist?
When there's a spiritual witness. When you're not just wishing, but you know in your spirit that this is something God has deposited in your life. That's when persistence is needed to bring it into reality. Apostle Paul said, "A great door is opened unto me, but there are many adversaries." Jesus gave several powerful illustrations on persistence, one of them being the neighbor knocking at midnight. The man said, "Go away, my children are asleep." But he eventually stood up, not out of compassion, but because of the man's persistence. And then there's the verse, "Ask, and it shall be given. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened." But in some versions, it says, "Keep asking, keep seeking, keep knocking." It's not a one-time prayer. It's a push, a pressing in. And yes, you are right. Some things aren't meant for us, especially when what we want involves other people's choices. God doesn't violate free will. If what you're fighting for involves someone else's will, like trying to force a relationship, you must let go. But if it's a vision, a dream, a promise between you and God, you don't give up. You press on until that promise comes to pass.
That's what I did. There were days I almost sold the land, but deep in my spirit, I knew. I saw that dream too clearly. And now, it's not just mine anymore, it's Richard's.
And you were right to hold on, because what belongs to you in the spirit won't just walk into your hands. Sometimes you have to drag it into the physical, with prayer, faith, and persistence.
Will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? I tell you, he will see that they get justice, and quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth?
I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I really hope that video taught you guys something. I hope you took something from it. Before we get into our discussion, I wrote down some things that God wanted me to share with you. I don't know if you noticed, but one of the key things or one of the chapters we spoke on before was the prayer of faith. That was like the very first Bible study we did on this book. The prayer of faith and just trusting that God is going to do his will, right? And that's one thing that she did. Like she continued to have faith no matter what. So if you have a situation or circumstances that you are dealing with yourself, use this video as an example of how to remain, how to keep your faith, how to continue to have faith in God, how to continue to trust in God, no matter how the situation looks. Also, there will be naysayers, there will be haters, and people who want you to give up, and they won't understand what God has told you. They won't understand nothing. But you continue to have faith and you keep holding on and trusting God. And that brings me to the next point. Don't allow people to cancel out the dreams or vision that God has already given to you. If God has already showed you that dream or vision, it shouldn't matter what anybody say. It shouldn't matter what people think about it. What matters is what God has already shown you. Also, people will quit on you, but God never will quit on you. And people may have power here on earth, but nobody is more powerful than God. And then God will use people to help you through your storms. And sometimes the outcome that we may expect isn't really what God wants. God has something better, right? So that's just something that God wanted me to point out. With that being said, so I have a few discussion questions. I'm going to see which one I'm going to ask or which one we're going to discuss. Okay, I guess the first one. Yeah, so um Miss Agimman had a dream about her grandson Richard transforming the land, which she believed came from God. And the missionary doctor also had a dream that guided her path to becoming a missionary doctor. How does a story suggest one can discern if a dream or conviction is from God, and how did these dreams influence the character's persistence? So I would say answer this question in your own sense. So how can you, based off of the video, right? How can you discern if a dream or conviction is from God, and how did the dreams influence your persistence?
Great question. The dream, how did it perceive my persistence? Well, with her, um, my persistence would have been not to give up, to keep seeking God and asking Him, is this really a dream? Is this for me? God, if it is for me, to show me. Um, and believe that if it keeps coming to me, then that means that it must be from God, and that I'm going to keep the faith and just keep asking God and believing that this is for me, because what is for me is from God. And if it's for me, God is going to give it to me and keep showing me that it is for me, and that I just have to keep believing and keep trusting that it is for me. And eventually, because I already been through something like that, and eventually it turned out that it was for me, because it kept coming to me in a dream, and then it also just kept coming to me as I go through everyday life. And I was like, well, God, is this for me? And then I also like would go somewhere and I hear somebody else talk about what I was already talking to God about, and these people don't even know me from Adam. And I'm like, okay, maybe that is a sign from God. I heard this again, and this person don't even know what I'm going through or what I've been talking to God about. So that's how, in my opinion, for me, that's how I know that it's from God.
Yay. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Well, I guess I'll share. So mine is a little bit of a testimony as well, right? Um, and I've been sharing it for the last week. So basically, back in March, right? God came to me in a dream because, well, not really in a dream, but he was speaking to me. I was minding my own business, just trying to use the bathroom and pee. And he just began speaking to me while I was in the bathroom. And it was before March even ended. And he was like, basically he was like, okay, you know, my child, everything's gonna work out, everything's gonna be okay. I know you're going through a tough time, but just know that, I'm working it out for your good, for my glory. He also mentioned to me that, given the circumstances that I was going through because I wasn't working, of course, my bills began to pile up. And he was just like, my child, you're going to get an eviction notice, but don't worry, you're not going to get evicted. And I'm like, okay, no problem. So, I just kept trusting God. I was all right, God, this is what you said. Cool, no problem. Now, I ain't gonna lie. My faith did kind of waver just a tad bit, right? But I got back on track. I didn't let it defeat me. So once I got back on track, I began to continue to worship and pray and just talk to God, go and pray. And I just was petitioning, you know. Mind you, I was supposed to get evicted April 14th. Right. But, you know, God had his hand in my situation. My property manager, she loved me like I was her daughter. And she just kept, it was like she was my angel in disguise in the corporate building office, right? And like God's grace was over my entire situation. I'm like, all right, well, God said I ain't getting evicted. All right, cool. Like, I trust him. I trust him. He said I ain't gonna do it. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. No problem. Boy, but June 2nd come and they came knocking on my door and it was like, time to pack your stuff and go. And I just was like, God, you said I wasn't getting evicted. What's going on? To mind you, listen, you know, when you have money that's supposed to be on the way, you know it's guaranteed money that's supposed to come, right? But it's just held up and locked up, like you can't access it right now. That was my situation. I had money, I just couldn't access it at that point, right? And I was just like, God, you said I wasn't going to get evicted. You know, I have money. I just can't access it. Why can't I access my money right now so I can pay my rent? Like I have the money, but it's just unaccessible right now. Why are you making the funds unaccessible for me so I can pay my rent? Right? And like he didn't answer me. So, you know, it was a battle, right? It was a battle for that entire first week of June. It was a battle. The Lord, like the Satan was really trying to get to my mind. Satan was really trying to like make me feel defeated, right? Satan was really, it was points where I like had to, like I was breaking down, y'all. I broke down. And like I was like, God, but you came to me. You even kept coming to me in prayer. You kept showing me signs that everything was going to be okay, that I was going to have the money to pay the rent and the eviction process wouldn't even happen. Like, God, like, where were you? Like, I was asking God where he was. Did he leave me? Did he forsake me? Like, but you know, I was like, okay, that's Satan trying to slip his way into this whole situation to make me really feel defeated. But no, I kept pressing on, and another thing to take from this, also from this video, and not just from what I'm saying, but from the video, be mindful of who you talk to when you're going through situations, because who you talk to will really like shape your mindset in that moment. So if you're going through something that is like really, really pressing, something like that, like, don't talk to someone that you know is negative. You got to talk to someone that is positive, that's going to uplift your spirit, that's going to pray with you, that's going to guide you, that's going to throw out Bible verses and tell you and remind you who God is and who his character is, right? And but what that did was what that dream did by me taking on that conversation and what God was showing me, the way it gave me persistence was like, okay, God, like if you want me here, you got to make a way for me to stay here in Atlanta. Because it was either I was going to stay in Atlanta or I was coming back to Florida. And in my heart and in my mind, I did not want to go back to Florida. And it had nothing to do with pride. I just felt like, God, I don't think you want me back in Florida right now. You want me to stay in Georgia. So show me if it's your will for me to stay in Georgia. Help me to be persistent and do what I have to do to get back on my feet. And I would say this, God has really been showing out for the last week. So for the last 2 weeks, literally has been amazing. And what I thought, you know, what I was discerning and what I was feeling at the moment, I realized that maybe that eviction was from God and that eviction had to happen just so that I can move because I was getting complacent where I was. I was getting too comfortable where I was. So take this as, you know, sometimes God would disrupt what you got going on just for you so he can give you that push. Right? I'm going to say it again. Sometimes God will disrupt what you have going on so that way he can give you that push that you need. And that's kind of how I, you know, I related to this video when I saw it. I was like, okay, God, like I maybe that dream or what we had, what you was telling me, that was supposed to happen, but like, it went a different way than what I expected. And you know what? The outcome is actually better, to be honest. But yeah. Do anybody else want to share?
I want to say something, not really much of a testimony, but I really appreciate the video you played. Like it just shows like what faith looks like. Um, Especially when you're like going through things. Because we never really like kind of see it from our perspective because we're kind of going through it. But I really enjoyed the video just like the other one. So I wanted to say that.
Yay. I knew you guys will enjoy these videos. But I picked I just, this video, especially since we're talking about, how to pray effectively, I feel like this video really coincide with the book when it comes to that because the way she prayed, I don't know if you guys really pay attention to how she prayed, but really I'm gonna share the link with you guys. But if you go back and rewatch this video, pay attention to how she kept praying and how persistent she was. Notice how she honored God, she reverenced God, she magnified God, and she even, she kept bringing up the dream like, God, if this dream isn't from you, then tell me it's not from you. Sometimes you got to, when you go to war with God, sometimes you got to be like, God, look, listen, this is what I saw, this is what you said. Let me know if I interpret it wrong. If I interpret it wrong, tell me. If I didn't interpret it wrong, then tell me that too. Show me that I'm not interpreting wrong. So pay attention to that if you happen to want to go back and rewatch the video. Really take a look at how she prayed. Do anybody else want to share before I move on?
I just want to say you I know I probably said this already a lot because I know it was like either it's time for you to come home or you're going to get back on your feet and just believe and always trust. And you've been handling this eviction like a champ. And I know it's nobody but God and the prayer of God. And that I'm glad that you did um realize that it may be that it was time for you to move because you became complacent. And that, yeah, like I always say, God, when we're not doing what we supposed to do, God will show up and make it a way where He will make you either get back in church, get back in the Bible, or start back praying like He wants you to. So that was that push from God telling you to replace it, and it's time for you to get uncomfortable and start doing what you need to do for the glory of Him.
Yes. And speaking of that, I have a special announcement at the end of at the end of Bible study that I am going to share. Um, but yes, that eviction was a push. And you know what? It actually turned out for the better because I'm actually working. I have the schedule that I want. I have the hours that I want, and the pay is pretty good. The pay is pretty good. So yeah, but if nobody else has anything else to share, I am going to move on. So let's go back to the book, actually. Okay, so a few things to take note of. So praying according to the will of God, right? And that's something we all want to do. So from First John 5:14 through 15. And this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us whatsoever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we desire of him. And that's one thing she had in the video. Like, she had confidence in her prayer. She had confidence in the things that she was asking God for. She kept petitioning on the situation when she went to God, and she continued to have that confidence, that faith, that prayer of faith is what she had. So when it comes to praying and asking God for stuff, you want to make sure that it aligns with the will of God, right? Because a lot of times when we go to God in prayer, we asking God for stuff, it don't align with his will. And I saw a video the other day where somebody was like, when you go to God and ask God for something, he's gonna shake your life up. You go to God and ask him for a car, you're gonna get in an accident. You go to God and ask him for a new house, he either gonna take the apartment away from you, the current house you in away from you. He gonna do something to make you work for what you want and to include him in it. And I am a firm believer of that statement, because I remember a week before my accident, I said, God, look, okay, people are asking to borrow my truck, to rent my truck out so they can move stuff, right? So I'm like, all right, God, I'm gonna use this truck as a business thing, right? I'm gonna get the business insurance on the truck, let people pay me to go move whatever they got to move or whatever, and all that other stuff, and then help me get a new car. A week later, I got into an accident, and I'm like, God, that wasn't my prayer. But it made sense when I saw the video that when you asking God for something new, oh, he gonna take the old away by far, by for real. But you're gonna have to work and include him in the work to get what you are asking him for. Um, Also, it is important to understand exactly what it means to act according to God's will, right? So many Christians basically they assume that as a result of their misconception of scriptures that the reason they didn't receive answers to their prayers was because such prayers weren't in line with God's will for them. And they assume God didn't want them to have what they were asking for, but that is wrong, right? Especially according to the word of God. When you go to God in prayer and it's according to the scripture, you need to go in there with confidence, knowing confidence in God, knowing that God is going to give you what you ask for. You just have to know that he's going to give it to you, right? And also, he isn't talking about what we ask for, but it's how we ask for it. In other words, the way and manner we present our petitions ought to be consistent with God's stipulated pattern, right? So, how are we asking for things when we go to God in prayer? Are we going to God in prayer like, well, God, I want this, but I don't know if I can get it? Yeah, you're not gonna get it if you go into God in prayer like that. Because you're not going to God in prayer with confidence that he's gonna do it. But if you go to God in prayer and say, all right, God, listen, look, I thank you for everything that you have given me, but I want a new car, I need a new car, I need a new car right now, God. I'm asking that the car that you give me, right? I'm not too big for a Mercedes, I'm not too big for a used car. I would take a used car that has a good engine, good alternator, good spark plugs, everything under the hood works just fine. A car where I have to do little to no maintenance on it. I thank you for that car that you're going to give me. I thank you right now that it is in my possession. When you go to God in prayer like that, and you have faith and you have confidence and you're very strategic and you're on point, like you're being specific about what you want. Oh, you're gonna get it. God is gonna bless you with it. But how can he bless you if you just go in and pray, well, God, I want a car, and like, yeah, I want a car to get to work. You know, I want a car, just because I want a car. Like, how can God answer that type of prayer? Like, that's a weak prayer to me. And then in the next verse, and in that day ye shall ask me nothing. Verily, verily, I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall ask the Father in my name, he will give it to you. Hereto have ye asked nothing in my name, ask and ye shall receive, that your joy may be full. At that day ye shall ask in my name. And that's from John 16:23-24 and 26. And then another one is earnest, heartfelt, continued prayer. So the earnest, heartfelt, continued prayer of a righteous man makes tremendous power available, dynamic in work. And that is from James 5 and 16 in the Amplified Version. And the prayer of petition is earnest, is heartfelt, and is continued. And to be earnest means to be intent and specific in purpose, to be zealous and fervent, marked by a deep feeling conviction. An earnest prayer is specific in purpose, filled with zeal and fervency, and marked by a deep feeling. It touches your heart and gets a hold of your emotions as you render it. Much persistence and continuance means you maintain your stance in a consistent manner and solemn attitude. So when you're going to God in prayer and you're doing your prayer of petition, you are earnest with it. You are praying fervently, right? You are consistent and you have the proper attitude towards your prayer, towards God's, and towards what you are asking for, right? When you're doing your prayer of petition. And when it comes to prayer petition, I don't know if you guys know of the story about Elijah. If not, here's the Cliff Notes version. Basically, Elijah, he was a prophet, and this story is in First Kings, my bad, I'm about to say Daniel, but it's in First Kings chapter 17 when it talks about Elijah. And basically, Elijah prayed to God and say that there's no rain for about 3 years, all because the Israelites, they were going against God. They began to worship another god by the name of Baal. Baal is the god of weather. I want to say it was the god of weather. Yeah, he's the god of weather. That is who Baal is, the god of rain and weather. And he went and he challenged King Ahab and was like, look, you know, if Baal is the real God, then he'll bring rain. But if my God that I worship is the one true God, he's going to bring rain. King Ahab was like, all right, let's go. I'll challenge you that. So they went ahead, they got their fruit, they got their calf, their bull to, make up a sacrificial offering to God. And when they did that, of course, King Ahab and the Israelites that were worshiping Baal, they did this whole little party and feast and stuff and playing music and all types of stuff like that to try to get Baal to move. Nothing happened. But then when Elijah went ahead, he set up his altar, he set up his bull and his sacrifice, and he went to pray to God. Within 30 seconds, it began to rain. But prior to that, Elijah went ahead and he prayed fervently. He prayed earnestly to God and said, God, let there not be any rain until the Israelites can really see that you are the one true God. And that's what happened. And that's the Cliff Notes version. But if you really want to get into the Elijah story and how his prayer petition was, it is First Kings chapter 17. And then continue to pray until there is a change. So many battles are lost because we stop praying too soon, right? So you may give up on praying, but once you give up on praying, you're basically saying like, all right, I give up, God. You ain't gonna do it. The devil already won. And you don't want that to happen. So just continue to pray. Don't stop praying because you don't see anything. Keep praying until God moves, because God gonna move, okay? He gonna make something shake. He just want to know that you're gonna continue to trust him and you gonna pray, right? So one example I like to use, and this example is for me too, because I did this a lot when I was a student. So if you're a student and you can't continue in prayer when the exam starts tomorrow, right? You knew the date of the exam, you had time to pray and prepare, and it's the night before your exam, and now you want to awaken and pray and ask God, God, please be with me on this exam. Please, I need you. I need you. I didn't study, but I need to pass this exam for my grade. That ain't really, God is not a genie. And a lot of people think God is a genie. And I'm going to say this myself. I thought God, I used to use God as a genie when it came to school too. So, but he isn't a genie. Like we have to put in the work. Remember the last chapter was talking about you have to do your part when it comes to asking God for things. You can go to God in prayer. Remember, faith without works is dead. So if you could go to God in prayer, but if you didn't study for your test, how you expect to pass it? Right? So yeah, that's something. If you're a student on here, take that in mind. Don't wait till the night of to pray and ask God to help you pass the test. Begin studying once you find out when the date is. Okay? Take it from me, because as a student, I used to do that, and trying to figure out life the day before an exam, or doing a paper when doing the paper the day is due, and at 11:59 I am like, oh, I'm not done with this paper, and I'm asking God for holy help, and it ain't working. So yeah, just do that. And then I think this is when is prayer a petition required? So petition prayers required in situations beyond your personal control, your circumstances, and it dictates or influenced by forces beyond you. And so for example, you may not want it to rain on a certain day because you're planning an outdoor event on that day. That's when you can go ahead and do a prayer petition. But it requires you to it got to be continuous, it got to be earnest, and it got to be a heartfelt prayer of petition. So when it's anything, if you got a court case coming up, or if you got a deadline that you need to meet, or if you have something to do that you can't get out of, that's when you can go ahead and use the prayer of petition. With that being said, prayer petition is actually 2 chapters, so we'll get into chapter 4, part 2 of the prayer petition next week. I think I'm done talking. So a few announcements. Here are some QR codes. Of course, every Thursday is Bible study. I published a book recently that talks about dance ministry. So if you want to purchase the book, you can go ahead and scan that QR code right now, and go ahead and get your purchase. And as far as my All Things God YouTube channel, right? The announcement that I have is ding, 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 ding. I am doing a spinoff from the YouTube channel. I am about to release a podcast, or start a podcast, All Things God, right? So it'll be on Wednesdays. I'll have people and special guests coming on talking, and I'll be doing panels and stuff like that. But you'll get podcasts on Wednesdays and Bible studies on Thursdays. So you're going to see and hear my voice 2 days back to back, right? All right. I know we're excited, right? I'm still working out the kinks, but more than likely I'll be streaming on YouTube. And then at some point I'll probably get it to Apple Apple Podcasts. Yeah. Apple Podcasts would be the distribution area. But yeah, so if you got an iPhone, you can listen to me on the podcast on Apple when that time's come. But yeah, that was my announcement, y'all. I'm doing podcasts. I'll let you guys know when the first podcast is released, but every week it will be an episode for a podcast every Wednesday. So yeah. And yeah, these are some other announcements for church, and if you want to follow Oasis GSU. Other than that, I am done. Do anybody have any last words?
Are you gonna be doing more of those videos? Or is it just a one-time thing?
Um, I probably will be doing videos now, because I be watching them and they be very interesting, and then it ties with the Bible study. So yeah.
Yay!
So